Right, let's roll on to the next member of the Age Verification Providers Association, which is Innovative Technology. And speaking to us on their behalf today will be Christian Czeskleba, something like that. Apologies, Christian. Who's the Senior Business Development Manager. He's got 20 years of valued experience in the retail and amusement industry, initially focusing on intelligent solutions for the automation of cash handling. He expanded his remit in 2020 and now leads customer project management for the company's AI-powered biometric solutions division. So as a member of the working group, he was also involved in the creation of the IEEE 2089.1 standard on online verification. Over to you, Christian.
Thank you very much, Ian. Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me here, giving us the chance to speak a little bit about our slightly different approach to age assurance in comparison to what you have heard so far from other companies, because we are targeting a common problem, but in a different part of the world, going more to the land-based business. I know some of you do both, but we will concentrate today on that. So first of all, I don't want to bother too much with the history of our company, but who is Innovative Technology? Just a quick outlook. We are based not far away from Manchester in Lancashire, Oldham, which is slightly north of Manchester here. Doing since more than 30 years developing products and own proprietary algorithms. First of all, Ian mentioned that already for cash handling devices in the retail and amusement industry. Since more than a decade, we are looking into analyzing faces as well. That brings me to the problems we are going to address here with our products. We know that minors have access to alcohol, cigarettes, age-restricted goods and services. Do you hear me? I hope so. Age-restricted goods and services. There's surely board evidence enough, and also companies like the ACCS or Surf Legal proving that by doing test purchases. And we believe there is a good solution on hand to support shop owners, such for convenience stores, vape stores, but also, of course, amusement operators to prevent minors getting access to those services. One of the products I will speak about today is our MyChecker, which is an out-of-the-box product, standalone, to support shop operators to prevent sales to minors. The other one will be our OEM product, integrated solution, which is called ICU Lite. It's a device that's been designed to turn a machine, an existing application, to expand the functionality of this application by offering age assurance services. The MyChecker is working in a way that you put it just on a desk. When the customer comes up, looks into the camera, and the system gives a signal via an LED indicator, green or red, when we believe the person is really over 18, via age estimation, by the way, and or indicating red when we propose to control the ID. We're doing this typically, as you in the UK, following the Challenge 25 principle. That means we estimate the age, typically against an age of 25 years, like you would do normally when you are in the shop here in the UK. I'm not sure everyone is familiar with the Challenge 25 principle. I heard this yesterday, but maybe those who aren't from the UK, that's the principle that when you like to obtain age-restricted goods in a convenience store, for example, you will be estimated by the shop operator against the age of 25. When he believes you might be below 25, he will challenge you to produce your ID card or driving license to prove that you are 18 plus. We follow the same principle here. So when the system turns red, it gives the advice to the operator to challenge that person. The same principle can be used by controlling accesses, by the way. When using our devices, combining this with an access control system, you can use us to decide who is okay to enter an age-restricted venue, such as arcades or adult gaming centers here in the UK, casinos. And in case the person is 25 plus, we can be sure it should be 18 plus. Just in case the person is estimated below 25, an age verification would be required in that case. Having the shop environment and gaming environment, we also took part of the, should mention that, UK government-backed sandbox trial 2 years ago, like a couple of other suppliers here. And we brought out a previous version of our My Checker to be tested in several convenience stores and liquor stores. And we got confirmation through the trial that the system is not only helping to produce more confidence for the shop operators, it also helped to address a problem in regard of staff abuse, which is a high issue here in the UK and also in other countries. So you can believe when people are challenged to produce their ID card, that's not everyone is happy about that. And this is a huge problem here in the UK, as an example. And during the test, it was clearly revealed that this system helps to prevent this staff confrontation and makes the shop operators more confident to ask for an ID, while you normally may have situations where the people don't really want to ask because they fear there might be a problem when they ask a person, and this is normally when you risk that a person, potentially a minor, gets hold of alcohol. I'll make it faster. So I mentioned already that this system is a supporting system to give staff confidence to challenge people. There's one interesting story I would like to mention in regard of the deterrent mentioning here. There was, during that trial 2 years ago, one convenience store where a group of young lads entered, and when they recognized the device, and it was obvious what the device is doing on the desk, they had a small gathering, and after this gathering, everyone grabbed a lemonade. Of course, we didn't know what was the initial plan to buy, but you can just assume that might have been alcohol, and they changed their plan for going for a lemonade instead of that, because the technology acts as a deterrent to prevent this also before it comes to a situation to challenge a person. Further. Some examples from the field. As I mentioned, this product has been designed to be used in a retail environment like convenience stores and vape stores, and especially vape stores currently are one of the biggest growing customer group, I can say, because there's a lot of pressure around that industry because it's known that young people under 18 get hold of vaping products, and a lot of authorities and governments, of course, need to address that, and this product helps to make the operators working in line with the laws. When speaking about our MyChecker system for standalone usage in shops, we also have our ICU Lite, also edge hardware principle following. And we designed this device to be used within machines, such as self-checkout in supermarkets or gambling machine for gaming operations. In a supermarket, you probably have seen one example yesterday evening at the tech showcase. When you go to a self-checkout, you usually do this because you would like to save time. Once you scan a bottle of wine, you can be sure you lose time because you normally need to wait for an attendant, a staff member, to prove that you're old enough. And they're doing this typically, depending on the country potentially, but normally by estimating your age and releasing the cell. So we can automate this easily by using our ICU Lite technology. So we will enable the machine doing anonymous age estimation. And once the person, let's say, is estimated being 25 plus, there's no requirement for a staff member to intervene. Because the most intervention at the point of sale, on the self-service point of sale, are due to age checks at the moment. Similar for gaming machines. Prominent example here in the UK, we have a lot of slot machines, or AWPs are they called here, in bars and pubs. But the staff is normally not, the operator is responsible to take a look into the machines and to assure that no one is gambling who is potentially under 18 or is under 18, but they just don't have time to do that. And so the technology can help in the same way that we determine the age of a person before the person can start to gamble. And only in cases where the challenge age isn't reached, the verification has to be done to the staff. So again, we enable machines to become more smart in a way that they can do their own age assurance. And especially for retail stores, I mentioned that already, it definitely helps to save time, and you will be able to achieve what you would like to achieve with this kind of self-service machines. mentioned the example already with the LWPs here in the UK. This is something that's currently starting, and we got the feedback already by the operators that this is really well accepted. When we speak about how to inform staff, there might be a potential underage person that should be challenged when the staff is not directly behind the desk. We offer our Alerts app. Alerts app means that the connected device will send a notification to one or more staff members that are around to get these informed that there is a person to need to be age checked, age verified, sorry. And that's also an enclosed solution that's data privacy secure, like all our solutions, because no private data is being sent or shared. We just go for the result of the check and inform the people or the staff members where to do an age verification if required. The beauty of that is that also you can bring the evidence to authorities that might control whether you checked your customers by having paperless logging available to see who approved the age of a person. So that's all included. Of course, we believe it's the best value because we are the producer of the product, so just as to say, but it is. It's an offline solution which allows you to operate locally. That means you don't need to send any data outside, and you don't have to pay us a constant fee by signing up for a subscription. Also, that means we're offering additional technologies like anti-spoof technology to see whether there's a person trying to fool the system by keeping up a picture. And as no data is leaving, your data privacy is secure. All the data processing is done locally on the devices, and only the result of the check is being transmitted A, to a host machine of an application, or B, changing an LED bar to inform the staff member whether to check or whether it's good to go. And finally, we have a very good algorithm regard of accuracy, and Tony is not here, but we recently have been recertified by the ACCS, and we are very proud of that result. So also we can prove that. It's easy to say when you're the manufacturer it's the best product. Of course we believe it's the best product, but we got this independently certified and evaluated. The same for the data privacy, by the way. And why saying that? We are working with independent bodies and also with close with our customers in associations. And we are very proud that we recently achieved primary authority partnership with Buckinghamshire and Surrey Trading Standards here in the UK. I think we are the first ones doing that. And also we are working close with the associations of convenience stores in the US and UK, as well, of course, being proud members of the AVPA and other institutes. Not been very fast. Probably there are some questions, so I can put up the time with that. So far, I'm done. Thank you very much for your attention so far. And yeah, in case there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer these. Hope you found this useful. It's a slightly different approach, as I said, as we are talking about the online safety, which is of course a very important point. We decided to give you some ideas about what we are doing to make the land-based business, which has the same problem potentially, a bit more secure. Thank you very much.
Hi, Robin Toombs from Yoti. I'm a big fan of the technology, and obviously we've been, very, impressed in many respects at what you've done. And we're big believers that this technology can help people comply with the laws and reduce risk, particularly confrontations with people who may think that a human isn't making a fair choice when estimating age. Have you looked at whether to potentially put your a model through a NIST testing, or
yeah, you saw the logo already because we're also offering self-exclusion solutions. So another functionality is a part of our system as well. That's why the NIST logo was in. But I think we will do. We weren't part of the first 6 ones. You need to be the guinea pig for that. No, I'm sorry. No, I think we will do, yes.
Hi, Jason Shee, Post Office. How are you dealing with consent, specifically in regards to that fantastic little anecdote of you had the kids sort of turn away and change their plans?
Yeah. Consent, so we need to take in consideration which country you are talking about. In some countries or some states, you may need to collect consent in a written way or pushing a button. But we did some analysis through a specific specialized law firm, in Europe, but also in part of the US. But I can say for the European Union, let's say governing might be exceptions in one or the other state, but the way we are performing age estimation, because it's completely anonymous and we don't send any data, we have a privacy by default design of that solution. When you're following this privacy by default design, it might not require to have written consent, for example. It might be to have, you can say it's better to inform the customer because it's less intrusive, because when you face a camera without being informed, you might be a bit surprised. But
that was going to be my follow-up question. If you're not obtaining active consent, are you notifying the customers that they are going to be undertaking biometric processing by entering the store, or how are retailers handling
this? This is something I would recommend to do. It's like with the CCTV camera system. When you have this in operation, you need to inform and give the choice, yes or no, to enter the building in that case or not. And can be similar done by when using that kind of technology. I think it's important that you just inform your customers what's happening. That's the main thing, right? What's happening with the CCTV camera? You store data. What's happening in our case is you don't store any data. You don't send any data. You just process the data locally. And this is important to understand. The data is processed locally at the point of sale, or point of interest, let's say, and not at us.
But you are continuously actively monitoring, as in it's not a task which is activated by the counter clerk.
You can do both.
You can do both. Okay, so you can provide options.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, that's really interesting. The ICU Lite product was quite intriguing. I'm just wondering from a practical perspective, how do you push updates out to them?
This one is, by the way, it's not that huge.
Oh, yeah, very small.
So we can have a technical discussion maybe later on, but I'm saying what we are doing actually is we are filtering a camera signal. We're grabbing a camera signal and the other side will be the output with the information, what we see.
Right. Okay, sorry. What I meant more was, so you mentioned in your slides that there's no ongoing subscription or fees or anything like that attached to it. So I'm just thinking at scale, if you've got a huge supermarket chain that's got one of these in every single one of their terminals, how does someone, say like Tesco or Sainsbury's or insert supermarket here, go about updating every single one of those terminals with the latest software or firmware update?
That's possible as well, yeah.
Oh, okay. How?
This would be via an API. You would integrate it via API and you can do updates.
Okay.
The same way.
Okay, so it's plug and play to that extent. Do all the terminals work in the same way then, or?
Yeah, you would integrate it in the same way, terminal by terminal.
Right.
But as I said, the system operator, you don't need additionally specific or expensive hardware for that because we are doing all the work within our edge hardware. And as part of the process, how you communicate to the device, you can also push updates on the device.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Laura from the International Alliance of Responsible Drinking. I was just interested, just building on the earlier question, can you give a good example of how consumers are informed about the kind of biometric testing in storage?
Yeah.
It's just interesting to sort of hear how that looks like, well, what that looks like in practice.
Yeah, okay. We have customers, as I mentioned. One would be to give a sign, to give a hint before people entering the venue. Then what we recommend is to have some information close to the unit. So when people are interested, wondering what is that about, they have a quick access to understand what it is. Maybe with a QR code link leads to more information. Also, it is recommended to have a privacy policy in place that reflects what you're doing with that device. We did, in regard of European Union, for example, we did legitimate interest assessment in regard of the usage of the product. So we have a couple of documents on hand which we provide to our potential customers or customers that help them to create that environment legal-wise that they are safe, let's say, and the customers can feel comfortable with that. It's always like some customers questioning cameras. That's always the case. They don't want that, and you cannot eliminate everything, but you can produce more confidence on customer side. And I think it's a learning curve, right? People are not used to use that technology, and this is something, especially when the self-service comes into play. I think this when you always have to wait for a staff attendant, for a staff member to release yourself. But the alternative is not really hurting, and we did this during, I think, the sandbox trial where Robin attended as well. And in the self-checkout machines, I think the outcome was that it was the most, the anonymous age estimation was the most, say, beloved as a process that's accepted by the customers. And because it's not hurting, it's fast and convenient, and that's the main thing. And I think it will take a bit of time, but people get used to it.
Yeah, the majority of the customers in those trials said they wanted the choice. A lot of them did it, probably got chose not to do it. And the choice is usually complete as long as regulations protect you from unknown things.
And some countries are a bit, say, far. Like in the UK, for example, you are very fast in adopting new technology, and you're open for that, while other countries are a bit more reserved regarding that. It's a cultural thing, I believe. I should know that. I'm from Germany, obviously, so we are always a bit data privacy. But it's used in Germany as well. It works.
In our trials, all the supermarkets said the customer needs to choose with a button. There may be countries where
It's like explaining something.
Yeah, but it's
in the UK supermarket trials, all of the supermarkets wanted the button. It was the first time they did it. It's a very clear decision on the shopper's behalf to make that decision. But there may be countries and there may be businesses that decide that a sign next to the till is sufficient. I'm not a policy expert.
Yeah, that's really the thing. Is there a requirement, or what is it you would like to offer to your customers? What do you think, how they would treat this situation? You prefer to collect the consent. Technically, it's not required. Sometimes it's required by law. Sometimes you probably would do this because you like to train your customers or to educate them slowly. So.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one more question.
Yes.
I'm Gary Guan from ACCS as a statistical modeling analyst. So it's a really great product, and you say it's with a really high accuracy. So I'm just wondering. So I assume that when you train the model, you have a lot of data set from children, so that you can distinguish them from adults. So I just want to ask, like, how do you get access to those children's data, and how do you get the consent from them? Because I think it's quite difficult to get the children's facial data than the adult data.
That's for sure the case. I'm not involved in that process, so I would need to get additional information on that. But yeah, of course, it's not so easy to get that. You need to have the consent. But I would need to speak with the colleagues that are responsible for that. I cannot tell you right in the minute.